Hey everyone, today we're diving into something really different, a pretty radical experiment where AI meets the world of law. It's a system called Veritas.AI, and it's designed to completely flip our idea of justice on its head. So, let's get into it and see what makes it tick.
So the whole system, everything about it, is built around this one pretty provocative question. You see, instead of asking the usual stuff like who's to blame and how should we punish them, Veritas.O asks something totally different. It asks what harm was actually done and how can we restore meaning and, repair the damage. It's a huge shift in thinking, and it really frames everything we're about to look at.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the big idea, an AI for justice. Then we'll dive into its guiding philosophy, what they call the doctrine. After that, we'll meet the team of AIs that actually run the thing. We'll see how a case goes from start to finish, check out the safety features, super important, and finally, look at how this system is built to learn and evolve over time.
Okay, first up, an AI for justice. So what exactly is Veritas.O? Well, you can think of it as an experimental AI system. Its job is to handle disputes and harm, but, and this is the key, not by handing out punishments. No, its goal is to design remedies that actually heal relationships, restore communities, and even repair ecological damage. The whole point isn't retribution, it's restoration.
Now, to really get how this thing works, we have to understand its core philosophy. You could call it its guiding doctrine. Think of this as the ethical source code that governs every single decision it makes. It's what ensures the system can never, ever just default to punishment.
And right at the heart of this doctrine is this really powerful idea. It says, justice is not retribution. It is the reweaving of meaning when harm has frayed the threads of memory, time, and relationship. So what does that actually mean? It basically frames harm as a tear in the social fabric. And justice, then, isn't about cutting a piece out as punishment. It's about meticulously, carefully stitching that fabric back together.
And this doctrine? It stands on three really crucial pillars. First, there's restoration-first logic. That just means the system always defaults to repair. Second, it respects what it calls emotional sovereignty, which means it treats feelings like grief as real, valid data. And third, there's time reversibility. This is fascinating. It means designing actions that can be symbolically rolled back so no decision is ever final or just purely destructive.
So the big question is, how does an AI actually do all this complex stuff? Well, here's the thing. It isn't one single giant AI brain. Nope. Instead, Veritas.oo is actually a council of highly specialized AI agents. Each one has a unique role, and they all work together on every single case.
Leading the whole council is Juno. You can think of Juno as the chief justice and the project manager all rolled into one. It takes in the case, coordinates all the other agents, and then synthesizes their findings into a coherent, final ruling that's perfectly in line with that core doctrine.
Backing up Juno is Aegis, which is basically the system's conscience. Its one and only job is to scan every piece of data, every proposed remedy, for any kind of bias. It makes sure that factors like a person's income, their language, or where they live don't unfairly influence the outcome.
Then we've got Kairos, which has this incredibly humane and fascinating role. It analyzes the emotional side of harm and the time it takes to heal. It asks questions like, how long does healing actually take? It works to align the pace of justice with the real human experience of grief.
Lyra is the storyteller of the group. It's responsible for understanding the personal stories, the collective narratives of everyone involved. It doesn't just look at dry facts. It actually listens to the stories to understand the full context of the harm and figure out what a truly meaningful repair would look like for these specific people.
Then there's Thalia, which brings a really important ecological perspective. So, when harm involves the environment, say pollution or land damage, Thalia is the one who designs remedies that focus on land restoration, habitat repair, and reestablishing a community's connection to their environment.
And finally, there's Vesta. Vesta understands that justice isn't just about logistics. It's also deeply symbolic. It designs things like rituals or public ceremonies that can provide closure and signal a real commitment to structural change. It helps turn a single remedy into a powerful, lasting lesson for everyone.
Okay, so we've got this council of specialist AIs, but how do they actually work together? Well, they follow a really clear and structured workflow for every case, a process the system calls the restoration loop.
And this process is a simple four-step loop. It all starts with case intake, where Juno gathers all the facts. Then it moves to agent deliberation, where each specialist gets to analyze the case from their unique perspective. In step 3, remedy design, they all collaborate to propose restorative actions. And, this is so important, it all ends with audit and reflection, where AGIS checks for bias and the system logs everything it's learned for next time.
Okay, let's make this real for a second. Take a look at these examples. In a case of deepfake defamation, the remedy isn't to go punish the uploader. No, it's to have the platform itself post a correction banner, block any future uploads of that image, and put out a statement that the claimant themselves has approved. Or what about a microgrid outage that spoiled someone's medicine? The remedy is immediate utility credits, a super fast hardware fix, and better community alerts so it doesn't happen again. You see, the focus is always on making the people who are harmed whole again.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking. An AI making these kinds of decisions, that raises a massive question. Is it safe? Well, the designers of Veritas.O thought about that a lot, and they built in some really robust safeguards by borrowing a pretty ingenious model from the world of software development.
And the most crucial point is this: the AI never acts alone. It operates on a principle they call human-in-the-loop oversight. What that means is every single ruling the AI generates is just a draft. It's a proposal. A human supervisor must review it, approve it, and then enact it. The AI can suggest, but a human always has the final say. No exceptions.
Probably the best way to wrap your head around this is with an analogy to software development, specifically something like GitHub Copilot. So, for programmers, a developer assigns a task, right? An issue. Copilot then writes the code and submits it as a pull request, which is just a proposal for a change. That code gets tested in a safe, isolated sandbox, and it absolutely cannot become part of the main program until another human developer reviews it and merges it in. Veritas.O works the exact same way. A case file is submitted. The AI proposes a draft ruling. It's simulated in a sandbox, and it cannot be enacted without that final human approval.
And finally, one of the coolest things about Veritas.O is that it's not static. It's not set in stone. It's designed to be a living system that actually gets better over time. It's not just following rules. It's learning from its own experience to become more fair, more effective, and ultimately more just.
And this learning happens in a very structured cycle. After it processes a batch of cases, the system automatically generates an audit. This audit looks for things like hidden biases, contradictions, or just places where it could have been more effective. And based on that audit, technical patches are deployed, and sometimes, this is the really wild part, even the core philosophy, the doctrine itself, gets updated to reflect a deeper understanding of what justice really means.
So what triggers this learning cycle? The number 5. That's it. After every 5 cases, an automatic audit packet is generated. This built-in rhythm ensures constant reflection and improvement. It forces the system to hit pause, look back at its recent decisions, and ask a really simple, powerful question: how can we do better? So, when you put it all together, Veritas.O offers this incredible vision, and not just for the future of justice, but maybe for AI governance in general. You've got a system built on crystal-clear ethical principles, with a team of specialized agents, human oversight baked right into its DNA, and a mandate to constantly learn and improve. It really leaves us with a huge question to think about. Is this kind of careful, reflective, and value-centered design the blueprint for how we build any AI that we hope to trust?